Good morning, everyone. This is Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, and I am popping in this morning to do my regular weekly Facebook Live. This week, my Facebook Live, well, actually this week and from now on this school year, my Facebook Lives are going to be happening on Tuesday mornings instead of Wednesday mornings. A new year means a new schedule for me, so that is why the little bit of a change. So I am going to confess that this morning I am coming in with very little plan. Good morning, Marika. Good morning, Janice. I had planned on doing some prep work before this video after my kids left for school, and instead I did an emergency mask run and was driving masks to school. So here I am. I do have a basic idea of what we're going to get done today, but I'm probably going to need your help with some color choices and figuring out exactly how this is all going to go together. So this is the bundle that we're using, and in the comments I actually put a link to purchase this bundle because with the World Card Making Day coming up on October 3rd, myself and 4 other demonstrators from Canada are getting together to do a 10-card stamp camp using this bundle, and the way you gain access to that is by going and purchasing this bundle using the host code that I included, and that gets you your entrance into our live event as well as the PDF and the bits for the make and take. So we're going to get started, and actually our first step today is not even going to be to use that die set. I'm actually going to be using the stitched rectangles to create a background for our card. And so I'm going to go grab my Big Shot and bring it over here with the 3 rectangles we're going to use. Sorry, and I just realized I just called it a Big Shot. It's not. It's our Stampin' cut and emboss machine. That's going to take me a while to remember. All right, so when we're using our machine, we've got our first plate that we're going to put in, and then we've got plate 2, and it's lovely because these have actually the recipe on them for how to cut things out. Then we're going to put in our plate 3, which is our cutting plate. Mine is really well used. I'm going to pop in an entire sheet of 6x6 DSP, and this is the Feels Like Frost 6x6 designer series paper. And then I'm going to pop on here our largest rectangle from those rectangle dies, and you'll see I have a little piece of washi tape on there. That actually isn't, you know what, actually I can put that on the other side. That's not important right now. It's going to come into play in the second time we cut these. Alright, then I'm going to put in, this is the largest of the smaller rectangles, and then this is the small rectangle that sits separate from the layered ones. Alright, so those are all of our rectangles. And I have lost my top plate. Oh no. Oh, here it is. Then we're going to pop in and put an entire other plate on top and run our whole thing through. So now normally I would suggest trying to angle these so that you don't get a big clunk as you put it through, but because I'm putting so many on here, I actually can't angle them. So we're going to have quite a bit of resistance on this first round. There we go. Just getting over that. Basically, I've created a speed bump. Uh-oh. And one of my dies, I'm just going to back it up a bit. One of my dies slid out of place. Ay, ay, ay. Now, luckily, the paper I'm using is very forgiving pattern, so it's not like I'm trying to line this up. I just don't want the dies on top of each other. There we go. All right. Good morning, Catherine. And here we go. Last time through. So this, I made that harder than it needed to be because I put those dies in straight on instead of angled. All right. So we are going to cut these one more time. I am going to take off 2 of our pieces and set those to the side. And now the largest rectangle that we cut, oh, didn't cut through very well at the top. Darn it. So sometimes I would run it through twice. I guess I probably should have for this one because there was so much going through. I'm just going to use my snips to fix that because it is a straight line and it's mostly cut through. There we go. And, oh, my washi tape is getting in the way here. Okay, so yeah, definitely I should have run this through twice to really get that cut. But it's actually fine because what we're actually doing with this larger piece is I'm going to be die cutting it a second time. What I want to do here is create a smaller or thinner rectangle, but that still has the same height as our first one. So I've got that larger rectangle back on here, and I'm going to line up the paper and the die so that I'm creating, the top and bottoms are still the same, but I'm creating a thinner rectangle. And I'm just going to do like that. Good morning, Val. And then I'm going to pop this through one more time. And now I'm just going to run it back one more time just so we can for sure have a good cut. There we go. So again, it's making that large clunking because I didn't angle them, just because of space constraints. Alright, so now when we take this off, we have two thinner rectangles, just like that, and they both have the stitching on them. So there we go. I can move all of this out of the way now, and we can start designing with our pieces. So there we go, and there. So now we have three rectangles that are going to go nicely onto our card front and create a nice little background here. So I'm just going to kind of lay them down first without gluing them just to see spacing, and then we will attach them afterwards once I see spacing, because I want to get kind of an even border around all my sides. Alright, so now to attach that, I'm just going to grab my seal, or not. Maybe I'll just grab my Seal Plus because that's all I can find right now. And I'm going to glue these down onto our background. Now the backs of these are gorgeous as well with that purple, but I was really looking for that silver today. Oops. There we go. All right. So this is the part that I always mess up because it requires actually, you know, being able to keep things straight. Oh, good morning, Jamie. So I just used the stitched rectangles to create three different rectangles here that we're going to glue on as the background of our card. So no stamping so far. We'll get there. All right. That one in like that. Awesome. And there we go. So today I'm using the Feels Like Frost DSP. If you attend the Stamp Camp on October 3rd for World Card Making Day, we're actually going to be using the Heartfelt Hugs DSP as the DSP on those cards. Okay, so there we go. We have our background all created, and now we're going to actually grab our stamp set and get going with some designing there. So I was thinking of using this lovely little flower piece, and you're going to see my stamp set hasn't even been used. When I designed my cards for World Card Making Day, I actually didn't have this stamp set, so I went over and borrowed Lori Wilcox's and did all my stamping with her. So this is a brand new one. So actually this is a great opportunity for those of you who have never used our stamps before to see how these kind of go together. Oh, you can't bear to glue down the other side of that paper. I know. The other side is so gorgeous, but today I really wanted the silver accents. All right, so what I did is I took the image that I'm looking to use today, I popped it out of the rest of them, and now I'm going to peel off this little protective backing. Now this piece here is not sticky, but you want to kind of keep it protected so it doesn't get dirty or anything. And then we're going to find the image that matches it and figure out which way it lines up. So I figured out which way. It's kind of hard to see through there, but there's the image. And I'm going to peel off just half. The reason I only do half is because then when I'm lining things up, I can kind of really look at that edge, line it up, make sure I have it right, and then I can peel that off of the backing, come in and peel off the other side, and that way I don't get any bubbles or anything in here. It all just lays down really nicely. So there we go. We have our image now with the cling on it, and so I can grab a block. I do find that the paper pumpkin blocks are actually my favorite because they fit almost everything. And we are going to stamp that onto some Whisper White. Let's see. Just got a scrap here. Hopefully that's big enough. Yep, that's going to be perfect. And so I'm going to actually stamp this in Memento. Normally I would actually stamp this in a color so that we get kind of all that shading in nice colors, but I'm actually not sure what color scheme I'm going to use yet. So we're going to do this in black. All right. So I'm going to do a test stamp over here because I haven't used this yet, first time. So I always just want to make sure that I've inked it up correctly and just give a sense of how it's going to ink itself. So that's nice. There we go. Do that. And then set that somewhere where I won't lose it. There we go. All right, and then I'm just feeling like, I know this is supposed to be mistletoe and the berries are supposed to be red and all of that, but I'm really feeling like I want this to really pop, and I have a beauty berry in my front yard that I just absolutely adore. I know the leaves are completely different, but I don't know, I just kind of want like that soft green and purple on here. So I'm going to come in and do this, and I'm going to color these. I'm just using blends, and this is dark Highland Heather that I'm using. There we go. So I've got those berries all colored, and then I am going to grab, oh, I was going to grab Old Olive, but it's not on my desk. Oh, I know why it's not, because I was using it for designing cards. All right, so here we go. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned, but the background that I used on this is actually Misty Moonlight cardstock for the background. All right, so there's so much going on these leaves. I'm actually going to use the thin tip of the dark Old Olive to not do all of these lines because there's so many, but to come in and just add a bit of darkness to where they've already put in those lines. All right, just like that. Okay. So yeah, if you are thinking of joining us for our stamp camp, registration is from now until September 23rd, and then we will mail out the make and takes by the 25th approximately. I guess give or take. If I get too many people signed up, it might take me a bit longer. And if you're local, we can also always arrange for local pickup, and then you know, you'll be guaranteed to get your stuff on time. So there we go. I'm actually just going to switch over to the thin end of this. Oh, I know. The big fire you guys had on top of the already smoke, like in the area, is just awful. And I really noticed it down by the river when I was driving home from work. I took the Maryhill bypass, and the closer I got to the river, the smokier it was. It's been hard at school having to keep them inside. We've let them out for recess and lunch, but that's just limited little times. But we've been asked not to go out for other things. Yeah, the air quality is awful. All right, so there we go. We've got that all colored in. And now we are going to run that through with the die that's going to cut those out, because I am not a fussy cutter, let me tell you. I've tortured myself and done it, but I don't enjoy it. But there we go. That's just going to pop on there and cut that out just quickly and beautifully. So I'm just going to run over to my machine and pop that out for you guys. All right, so there we have it. Oh no, that's too bad, Janice. I guess it just gets in and then it gets stuck, eh? Nowhere to go. Ugh. If you have a diffuser, I have heard that diffusing things like rosemary and lemon, those are oils that will help kind of grab the smoke and take it out of the air. So maybe you want to try that. I don't know if that, if you've got those or if that will help, but worth a shot. I've been diffusing peppermint and orange with a little bit of rosemary and lemon in my classroom, and it seemed to help. All right, so we've got that. I'm going to, I think, add in a little sentiment here. And so I'm just thinking that maybe we'll do the wonders of the Christmas season. The fan and humidifier on, but you don't have a diffuser. If you've got your fan and your humidifier, you could always put like a cotton ball or something with some oils on it near your fan, and that might help a bit. All right, so I'm going to grab this May the Wonders of Christmas stay with you throughout the coming year, and we're going to stamp that onto a piece as well. All right, so same process. We're peeling that back off. We're going to find the one that we're doing and line it up the right way and pull those off. All right, line that up. There we go. All right, so that's all set. Got a block for that one. There we go. And I'm going to grab another piece of, actually, do I want that on Whisper White? I actually don't think I do. I think I'm going to actually do some embossing on this card. I'm going to put that onto Misty Moonlight, not Midnight, Misty Moonlight piece of cardstock, and we're going to stamp that in white and emboss it. There we go. No, I know, definitely. Well, even for those of us who aren't, but I've got like asthma and stuff, it's just horrible. I'm really struggling. All right, so I'm going to stamp this onto the Misty Moonlight, but before that, I'm going to trim this down to the size I want. So I'm going to actually be using my Pick-a-Punch. So I'm going to cut this at 3/4. The Pick-a-Punch does, oh, shoot. That wasn't 3/4, was it? Or that was, and it's just, oh, maybe that'll fit. No, I'm going to do this as a one inch. So the Pick-a-Punch labels can be done at 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, or a full inch. And so I'm going to have to do a full inch for this one to get that whole sentiment on the piece. There we go. All right, so now we're going to ink this with some Versamark. There we go. Pop that on there. Now, I didn't mount it on my block straight, so I'm going to have to do some really good looking to get that straight. All right. Oh, that was not straight, so that's why we have two sides. And this, I'm actually going to correct that because that's going to be really hard to stamp. So I am going to line that up, and then I'm going to line up my block so it's also straight. There we go. We'll have a lot better luck now. Okay. So now I can use my grid paper to line up both my paper and my block. And, oh, not that much better. All right, well, good enough. And This is why they're handmade. They look handmade. So I'm going to pop that on there. Grab my white embossing powder. Oh, I'm getting all sorts of lovely reminders to do things. Oh, don't close that yet. I'm going to pour that off and give it a little flick on the back to get all of our excess off. There we go. All right. And so I just keep everything on a tray, so it's nice and handy here. I can just quickly grab my whole tray of things and do some embossing whenever. I find that having things accessible in my room where I can just grab them and use them means that I actually use them more. When I had to pull out a whole bin to do embossing, I almost never embossed. All right. Oh, that is really crooked. Oh. Okay, so now I'm going to plug in my heat tool. And we're going to warm this up. There we go. All right, so with that done, we're going to grab our label maker here and punch the ends of this. So I actually use this one upside down. And so when I put this in, oh, there we go. I turn it over so that I can make sure, oh, I put that in the wrong one. Good thing I was looking. All right, I turn this over to make sure that I've actually got this lined up the way I want it lined up on the ends. And do the other side. There we go. Just like that. So yeah, back to school so far, aside from forgetting masks this morning, has actually been pretty smooth. The high schools are running things really well around here. And yeah, small classes and in larger spaces, so it's been quite good. And yeah, back to school with my own class has been interesting. They're just not used to the new rules and everything. It's a bit challenging for the littles. All right, so we're going to put that sentiment there, and then maybe I can hide the fact that this is totally crooked by putting these underneath. And so maybe raise that up a bit. Okay, and we'll put some dimensionals on there, and then I'm going to add around it because there's these gorgeous sprig dies in the kit. They cut them out and they do like all the fine stitching and everything in there as well. So I used Old Olive on here. I think I'll use Old Olive cardstock as well to cut those out, and we'll be able to hide just a little bit more my very crooked stamping. So I've got these three, and we'll grab a little piece of Old Olive and I'll pop those through. All right, there we go. So I ran those through, and as you can see here, when I pull those off, they have just this really nice kind of just fine details in them. So it really adds something to the card. I love it. All right, pull those out. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So I think we'll put some of these underneath here. So I'm just going to kind of lay it all out first, and then I will, oh, I love the dies in this set. And then I'll glue this all together or use dimensionals once I kind of get a sense of how I want it laid out. So actually maybe keeping these away from the nice image because they're a little bit different, and I think take away from it a bit. I wonder, actually, maybe I'll do a few in vellum to go behind the image. There we go. So a couple like that, and then down here I think I'm going to do 2 more and just do them in vellum to go underneath this image. So I'm just going to grab a piece of vellum. Okay, so just like I did with the green, I'm just going to pop a piece of vellum cardstock on there, throw my dies on, and then I'm going to run this through my Big Shot as well. So it's nice that they've given us multiple so we don't have to cut out 2 of the same and flip them around to get the different directions. So I'm loving using the vellum cardstock these days for when you want something that's not going to be too bold. Now the vellum cardstock is a bit trickier to pull out. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, the detailing on all of the pieces. So like here's one that I'd done in some brushed metallic for the cards that I'm using at the stamp camp. Just like all the detailing and everything makes it such a beautiful set. All right. And then yeah, under like that, and maybe tie it all together by popping this one up here. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff going on here. I am actually going to use some mini glue dots to attach a lot of those leaves so that they can stay a little bit more free. And then we'll use some dimensionals to put on the words and the images. So to do this, I'm going to come in here, and I'm really not going to use a ton to hold this down. I'm just going to use a single mini glue dot because I'm going to be putting things over top. I'm not too concerned about them staying in place. They will stay. So just one at the base where kind of the leaves and the stem meet should be enough to hold this all in place. All right. Move that. Oh, darn it. I just lost all my placing. All right, I'll reset those. It's good to check in anyways with all the bits and make sure that I'm still on the right track as I move things. All right, so we wanted that there. With this here, that's going to go up a little bit. That's going to come down a bit. Okay, there we go. And then these 3 are going to go together. So, yeah, it's been so nice to get in here and get stamping. It has been a crazy start to school, back to school. Have not had a ton of time to stamp, unfortunately. But I think another week and we'll be in a groove and it'll all be good. There we go. There. All right. And yeah, so we've also got, I have my very first stamp camp, or not, sorry, not stamp camp, stamp club happening next Thursday, the 24th, I guess it is. So just this year, I've put together a stamp club. We meet once a month and create cards, and it's just a monthly purchase. Gets you access to that using our stamp club code. And yeah, so it'll be our first time meeting. We still have spots available if you want to join. It is a 6-month commitment if you do join, and with that you get a free ink pad as well as the monthly card class. So let's actually put that on like that. I think that'll be nice. There we go. So I've already done all my prepping for September, but now is a great time to contact me if you'd like more details about joining us in October. Oops, I put that up too high. Don't want to cover my words. There we go. Oh, that one's a little curved. I'll just bend it back the other way. Awesome. So we are nearly done this card. I am just going to add a few little details with, let's see, not those. There we go. So in here I have the clear and frosted epoxy drops, or what are they? Oh, they're not even in the right bag. What are these called? I always get it mixed up. Frosted and clear epoxy droplets. And so I love using, especially the frosted ones, on kind of wintry cards. I just think that they add so much, like they're just so beautiful. I don't know. I think I might actually put this up near the leaves. And then maybe one right there. And another one over here. There we go. And so just that final little frosty touch to our card. And there you have it. That is our Tuesday morning Facebook Live card, all complete. And that was using the stitched rectangle dies and the Wishes and Wonder bundle. So I've put in the comments a link to order that bundle using the host code that will actually get you signed up for our October 3rd World Card Making Day stamp camp. And oh, thank you, Val. And yeah, if you are a demonstrator and want to order this yourself and get your discount and everything, we do have an option for just getting the make and take and the PDF. Although I've got to tell you, it's probably a better deal to just order the set through me and get this part for free. Because yeah, the cost of the bundle itself is $64.95 with and then adding shipping and taxing, and so you'd be spending that anyways unless you had already spent it for this bundle. And then the cost for the PDF and make and take is $40. So yeah, you're probably better off just buying the bundle through me, even if you are a demonstrator. Yeah, so that is our project for today. I'll see you, I'm hoping, sometime this weekend when my paper pumpkin arrives. And that is the Halloween treat one, or autumn themed cracker boxes. So I'll pop on when that arrives, whenever that may be. And otherwise I'll see you next Tuesday for my next Facebook Live. Have a great week, you guys.